What an incredible journey, what an incredible professional career that the Kabale kid Shaka Sali inspired. And the many people that inspired along the way, representing an authentic African, actually an authentic Chigezi, Ugandan and African voice on one of the biggest platforms in the world, on the Voice of America. We celebrate Shaka Sali for his contribution to journalism and the talk show world and the media profession broadly. My name is Charles Mwangu Shampagi, and this evening we discuss the jostling for blocks, different Ugandan communities as we head towards the 2026 general election. Who is positioning for the Buganda region? How is the contest shaping up there? Who is positioning for the Lango sub-region, Acholi sub-region, and the other traditional regions of the country? How is that shaping up? West Nile, is it moving together with the rest of the north? How do things look like there? We'll be discussing that. And my guests on the NBS Frontline, I have one frontliner, Ofono Opondo, all the way from Kapelebyong, from Molanda, and from China. Nice to have you.
Thank you, Charles. Talking of Shaka Sali, I wonder if you will make 29 years hosting a show like this.
I've already covered some significant ground hosting shows in the country.
Yes.
I hosted the Fourth Estate for quite many years, the KFM Hot Seat, the Frontline, and NBS Face Off. I think I'm making my contribution, and I've made my contribution.
No, I was talking about one platform for 29 years.
29 years. He actually hosted it from 2000 to 2020, so 2021, so 20 years hosting. I think I've done already a little more than half as a talk show host. Not the same platform, but the talk shows. Thank you. Well, very nice to have you. Ofono Pondo is also the executive director at the Uganda Media Center. We have Charles Rwomushana. People still mistake me for Charles Rwomushana. They call me Charles Rwomushana. and there is Paul Emodu, who I believe should be watching. He's always been demanding for many years, why don't you bring Charles Rwomushana to the front line? And every time we bring you over here. So Paul Emodu, I believe you're watching. You're Charles Rwomushana. He's on the show tonight. Very nice to have you, sir.
The Almighty God of all creation is great and exceedingly merciful.
Thank you. When do you bring in that other thing? Al-Nakaba, is it?
They are having some issues in South Sudan.
And some issues.
The South Sudanese now are facing the Al-Nakba.
But the UPDF was retreating from there.
Retreating?
I think it was supposed to be retreating from there for deploying without clearance from the United Nations Security Council.
No, the South Sudanese are facing an Al-Nakba.
Okay. That was Riek Machar complaining about that deployment. But Salva Kiir was celebrating it.
No, there is no retreat because UPDF is in South Sudan at the invitation of the government, the legitimate government of South Sudan. The legitimate government of South Sudan is led by His Excellency Salva Kiir. Mayardit. So there may be people complaining. That's okay. The government of Uganda, together with the government of South Sudan, will attend to those concerns. And hopefully, they will be harmonized.
No, you see, the government
can I introduce you before we begin the discussion? We're not discussing the UPDF in South Sudan on the show tonight. I have Fungaro Kaps Hassan from Obongi, West Nile. Very nice to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I salute you, my dear brothers and sisters who are tuned to this program, my beloved people of Obongi, as he has mentioned, and the whole of northern Uganda. I'm indeed Honorable Fungaro Kaps Hassan, Deputy President of the FDC in charge of northern Uganda, and MP Emeritus of Obongi constituency. Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay. And last but not least, I have from Lira Municipality. Hey, it used to be Lira Municipality, now Lira City.
Lira City now.
Lira City. President of the Uganda People's Congress.
Which faction?
Pardon?
Which faction?
He is the president of the Uganda People's Congress. Very nice to have you, sir.
Charles, thank you very much. I think Ofono Pondo here is trying to look for problems as if he doesn't have enough of his own. But if he wants, we can always add to for good measure.
Mr. Mamusha,
the Honorable James Akena.
He belongs to the faction of UPC that Ofono Pondo is protecting.
Ofono Pondo used to be a member of UPC, from what I heard. From what I have heard, hosting the show here, they have said he used to be, and his father was a very strong member and the chief of the Uganda people, of the Congress.
Was the chairman of the Congress of what was Toro district, which is now Tororo, Busia, Butareja, Parisa, Kiboko, Bodaka, and Butebo. Yes. For 4 years, 1981 to 85. And he delivered all the constituencies of Toro, then there were 5, to Parliament, UPC members of Parliament. My brother Akena is unlikely to deliver that much.
Very nice to have you. We're discussing politics. We're discussing politics and politics. I have the Vice President of FDC for Northern Uganda. I have the President of UPC. I have, you just described, that former Tororo district looks like an entire region today.
Yes. It's what they
districts.
Call Bukedi. But you are here having immediate former spokesperson of the NRM.
Immediate former spokesperson of the NRM?
Yes.
When did the changes happen?
This morning.
Former spokesperson of, now the spokesperson of NRM is Dombo. This is about 4 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. That's when the changes happened?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think happened this morning?
I think what you were saying is the immediate spokesperson. I thought
immediate former.
I thought they dismissed him. So
gentlemen, let's get into the let's get into the discussion. A lot of discussions are going on. We have seen you, Jimmy Akena, rallying your people in the Lango sub-region. There is a resurgence of the red color in the Lango sub-region especially, but we haven't seen much of you outside of the Lango sub-region. We saw what was happening. The Buganda Parliamentary Caucus was holding a meeting and trying to reactivate its position, its influence in the politics of the country. And we see other formations happening. He says he's in charge of the entire northern Uganda. As we move towards the 2026 general elections, I would like to hear from you, to begin with you. Is the strategy to own particular parts of the country, or will the strategy be to mobilize the entire country? And how will you do that?
Strategy definitely is to mobilize as much of the country as you can. The fact that we began where we have a base does not in itself mean that we're going to confine ourselves to the base. It is just at a starting point, something where you can qualitatively see how you can work on the mobilization strategies, which through the misfortune was also gave us opportunity to try it out for both the Oyam North by-election and then the Dokolo by-election. So as far as mobilization and the strategies, I think we're quite set. And consolidating the base, definitely we've been working on that one, as has been seen of recent. But I've also been outside of the Lango sub-region. We've also started mobilization in the Chole sub-region, also in Teso, on the side of the rallies. But there's also been quite registration going on for the party, because we're going to renewing all our electoral processes from the village all the way to the national, to the top level. So there's a lot going on as we try to prepare ourselves for 2026. But I'll not want to put it that we're trying to regionalize or the like. It's just facts of what's on the ground, and that's the starting point where we are, where we began from.
How does it play out? How do you see it playing out with the other players within, especially the political opposition?
I think within the opposition, we have seen where our strengths are and where we're lacking. And it will be in our best interest to approach, especially the parliamentary elections as they come around, in a very sober way, that we do not create opportunities to lose seats, because that is where, at parliamentary level, is where I think we'll need to be a lot more careful, and at also lower local government. But as far as the presidential is concerned, the law in itself, I think, caters for that. So there shouldn't be a lot of concern.
How do you mean you need to be a lot more careful? What exactly do you mean?
At parliamentary, it is the person with the majority, a simple majority. So if you split the vote, you can get somebody going through with even 20% or less than 20% of the vote.
Can UPC hope for a kind of a collaboration with the other members in the political opposition? You have been having an understanding with the NRM party, so where does your collaboration fall? Where do you see it falling?
In elections, we have always operated as a singular party. There's no point in the elections where we have been in a coalition of sorts. We have tried under what was first the IPFC, then we've had different attempts within the opposition to come across on a joint platform. But it's always been difficult to determine how to select the candidates and on what basis those candidates will be selected. I think basically what is coming out is where there's more strength